subjects itself to historical verification.
He says, we saw this.
We go to the Bible wanting to hear what the living God has to say to us.
When God speaks, what does he say?
The God who speaks. Visit stream.afa.net.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Hurricane Melissa is now a Category 5 storm, packing winds of 140 miles an hour and bearing down on the northern Caribbean. National Hurricane Center Deputy Director Jamie Rome says the storm is moving slowly and is expected to hit Jamaica for a full 24 hours starting Tuesday.
The core of a powerful hurricane is going to move over Jamaica on a Tuesday. And not only that, the slow motion is going to mean those hurricane conditions, potentially major hurricane conditions, are going to sit or occur over the island for in excess of 24 hours. That is a long duration event where you're going to have to be in a shelter in your home for up to 2 to 3 days, possibly longer.
The government shutdown moves into day 27 as a funding bill has still not been passed through Congress. South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham discussing what will reopen the government.
I'm hoping that a group of Democrats will see that the best way to get a solution on health care is not to shut down the government, is to talk with Republicans with the government open. We're not going to do a deal on health care being held hostage by a government shutdown.
Socialist New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani is rallying his supporters to vote early, with Election Day over a week away. Speaking at Forest Hill Stadium in Queens Sunday night, Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders says Mamdani is the candidate for socialism.
New York must have a mayor who represents the working families of this city, not the billionaire class.
But Mamdani's opponent, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, says this is an attempted socialist takeover.
Well, look, what you're seeing with the Democratic Party right now is a quiet civil war. You have an extreme radical left wing. They are socialists, and the socialists want to take over the Democratic Party.
The Trump administration is about to make it easier for an American to afford a new car. Jeff Manasso tells us why.
President Trump signed a law in July to boost auto affordability and sales with new car loan interest deductions that allow us to claim up to $10,000 in interest on new 2025 through 28 vehicles assembled in the U.S. The IRS says borrowers will need to file a new Schedule 1A for consolidation on 1040 forms, beginning with 2025 federal income tax returns to claim the deduction. There are some requirements that vehicles must be purchased and not leased, and for personal use. The deduction also phases out for higher incomes.
For now, China is not buying U.S. soybeans. Robert Thornton has more.
Reuters reports China imported no U.S. soybeans in September. It is the first time since November of 2018 that shipments fell to zero. China then looked to Brazil for its beans, as many farmers call them. In the past, China has bought about half of the U.S. exported beans, according to IPM News. Soybeans are a good source of protein and are used in foods and feed for animals and other items like biodiesel, plastics, and mattresses. Mississippi State Extension agricultural economist Steve Martin said prices are depressed due to large supplies domestically and globally.
When the current administration started talking about tariffs, China's in the big one in the news because they're the biggest buyer of ag commodities, period. Of course, they're also a big trading partner. We get a lot of consumer products from China, and so we want to put tariffs on them, so they're retaliatory in that, if you're going to do this, we're going to do that. The beans that China is taking off out of Brazil and replacing our beans with, then that is beans that we can sell to some other country.
Rob Baker is a farmer in the Mississippi Delta.
Typically, in the Delta, all our beans go on a barge, and that barge goes down to the Gulf, and basically all of our soybeans go overseas. We do not ship many soybeans inland. So when you take Chinese demand down to zero, that has been very, very detrimental.
I'm Robert Thornton.
More news available online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
As we watch world events unfold and fulfill Scripture, it's hard to believe anyone could doubt God and His Word are real, and yet there are so many who either question or completely refuse to believe it. The God Who Speaks is a 90-minute documentary that hits the doubt head-on with evidence that proves God is real and His Word is the ultimate authority. Watch it anytime and invite others to watch with you. Just visit stream.afa.net. That's stream.afa.net.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. That's the name of this here program. Today's Issues on this Monday, October the 27th, 2025. Again, thanks for listening. Joining me in studio today is Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
And Fred Jackson.
Good morning, Tim.
That's all, folks. Just three of us. That's it. There's no fourth voice today. Chris Woodward's off on Mondays.
That's right, yeah.
And Steve Paisley Jordahl will be with us, at 11, an hour from now. All right, gentlemen, you have a good weekend?
I did. It was short, as all weekends seem to be at this stage of my life. But it was a good weekend. We got some rain, which will probably mean my grass will start to grow again. Have to cut it, and it just makes me.
Life's hard, isn't it?
Just makes me upset.
Well, doesn't take much.
I'm glad when it dies in the summer.
I'm going to tell you, it's not going to grow.
It's
over because it's only going to be in the 60s and 50s at night. You're okay.
Okay, good.
You can wait, and it can be shaggy.
Whew.
It can be shaggy till next spring if you want to do it that way. My wife Allison, she takes care of our lawn. Bless her heart.
Yeah,
and God bless her.
Yeah.
Because I got back, little back thing caused me not to be able to do.
That's why you play golf.
Football injury.
Well, yeah. Golf makes it better.
Yeah, it stretches it out.
It stretches it out,
sure.
Makes it better. But she likes to. She has an I can't take any credit. I'm just going to be honest. So she has an immaculate yard. So she'll cut it one last time.
Yeah.
After the frost and everything, to make it smooth until the spring.
Make it look good, yeah.
Make it look good. So, anyway, we got a lot to talk about.
Did you introduce Fred?
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right.
Fred.
I wasn't paying attention.
How old?
It's all about me.
Fred, our Canadian-American, who's over here. Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers are tied, right?
They are so optimistic after the first game. It was 11-4 or something like that.
Yeah,
Then
they go to they go back to is Los Angeles tonight or tomorrow?
I believe it's tonight.
I think it's tonight. Yeah. The World Series is on for those who don't want.
Yes.
I was telling Fred this morning that I watched the kind of extended replay of the first game, which was Friday night, I think, and in Toronto, and the Blue Jays had a huge sixth inning. I don't know whether they scored 9 runs or something. Something crazy. But anyway, one of the players hit a grand slam in the middle of that inning. And on the replay, sometimes they'll switch announcers, to get home field opposite team. And they had, the first time I've ever heard, a play-by-play for baseball in French. Because there were,
Oh, yeah.
So they were calling the grand slam in French. And it was pretty
funny.
Fun.
Yeah.
And they cheered in French too.
Did they?
Yeah, they say "la cheer," "la cheer,"
"la cheer," and we're on Le Show. See,
that's right.
I did, by the way. I know our listeners just are hanging on every word here.
This is rich.
But my daughter one time came home. No, I'm sorry, it was my son. And I was just messing around with him, and I told him, I said, "You want me to teach you how to speak French?" And he said, "Yeah." And so I told him, I said, "To speak French, all you have to do is put le in front of everything. Le chair, le table, le fork. And I was just messing around with him. The next day he went to school and told his teacher in front of the class that he could speak French. And she said, "Really? Well, go ahead." And that's what he did. And she laughed. She said, "I don't know where you got that from. That's not French."
My French was, I think, a semester, maybe 2 in high school. You know, and I was real attentive during those formative years. And I just remember my name. I do remember that, Timote.
Timote.
That's Timothy.
That sounds Spanish.
Timothy. I don't. It may have been. I wouldn't have known the difference.
French. All right, can I just say one more quick story? One more.
You lay it on us, JJ. One more quick story.
Oh man, that kind of hurts. That
going
hurts.
full JJ on us. I got one more quick story.
So in high school, I went to an all-boys Catholic high school.
Yeah.
And you have to take a foreign language. I had 2 years of Spanish. And then day one, my junior year, we're all walking into Spanish class, and across the hall is the new French teacher. And she was a babe. I mean, all these high school boys and all boys Catholic high school, all standing outside looking at this
Wanted to take
beautiful,
French.
right out of college. And I did. I went home that
Signed
day
up
and I
for
told my
French?
dad, I said, "I'm thinking of taking French." And of course, he just looked at me. I don't think he slapped me in the back of my head, but he said, "Why?"
Why all this sudden interest in French, son?
Well, of course, the answer was a big no.
All right. A lot going on in the world. By the way, have you guys seen this hurricane model down in the Caribbean?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there is a massive Category 5 hurricane. Now,
is it Melissa?
Melissa.
Yeah.
Melissa, it's not going to come to the United States. The model show it going out to sea, but it is going to just ravage Jamaica today.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a news account. You think, well, these people in the Caribbean deal with hurricanes all the time. Not necessarily. In the last major hurricane to hit Jamaica, they said was in the 90s. So,
wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, me too. I was surprised by that. So, most of the time, the hurricanes go from the west coast of Africa. They form there, and then they go into the Caribbean. But they go north of Jamaica. They go up to the other islands there, and Florida. You know, Florida has a lot of experience with hurricanes. But what I'm saying is, I don't know how to pray for weather.
I hear.
I don't know how you do that, because God puts nature into existence, and He doesn't stop it normally from happening. Does that make sense? Do y'all know what I'm talking about here?
And,
I don't want to.
And you either pray that God will break the storm apart, or send it somewhere else if it's heading towards you. And then if He sends it somewhere else, it's going to hit somebody else.
Yeah, you don't want this kind of weather to hit anybody.
Right.
Okay. But we can pray. The Bible does say pray for people.
Yeah.
Right.
Pray for safety and preservation.
Safety. So we can pray for the people of Jamaica in particular. That's why I bring this subject up. We can pray for them because they're about to go through a horrendous storm. They're talking 30 inches of rain in some places.
Yeah.
And
14-foot surges.
Jamaica's mountainous, and they're talking about mudslides. I mean, it could be catastrophic. It will be catastrophic.
And it's not like they're a developed nation already. A lot
of
poverty.
They have a lot of poverty. They have a tourism industry. We all familiar with that. Everybody is familiar with the beautiful beaches of Jamaica. People vacation there and honeymoon there and everything like that. But they don't have a lot of industry.
Right.
Maybe some, I don't know.
Well, their homes are very simple and aren't going to stand up to a lot of this weather.
Right.
So
anyway, it was just
devastating.
I was going like, wow, if that's gonna hit Jamaica. Category 5 that's a beat down for the United States. For Florida, South Carolina, Louisiana, or anybody. But you're talking about putting that on a course that would hit a country as poor as Jamaica. That could It will be devastating. Are you looking at, and they're talking about Haiti and is it the Dominican? Isn't it the Dominican Republic attached to Haiti, right?
Well, yeah, that's
same island.
That's so you have Jamaica. Then directly to the north is Cuba, which extends out.
Okay,
to
the Guantanamo Bay. They've sent all the Americans home.
Okay. And then just to the southeast of Cuba, almost directly east of Jamaica, is the Dominican Republic and Haiti.
And Haiti.
Yeah.
And Haiti. Haiti's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, I think. So, anyway, that's gonna happen today, and then that's a Category 5. That's the most intense hurricane they measure. So anyway, all right, you're listening to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. What's the next story, Fred?
Well, on a more cheerful note, Russia says it's testing nuclear-powered missiles that will reach the shores of America. And to that, President Trump says,
Canadian sarcasm.
Oh, yeah? We have submarines off your coast, Vladimir, and we can cause damage, too. So that back and forth, President Trump asked about all of this on Air Force One in the last 24 hours. This is what he had to say, cut 6.
They're not playing games with us. We're not playing games with them either. We test missiles all the time, and I don't think it's an appropriate thing for Putin to be saying either, by the way. You ought to get the war ended. A war that should have taken 1 week is now in its soon 4th year. That's what you ought to do instead of testing missiles.
President Trump, by the way, is traveling in Asia.
Yes.
He was in Malaysia, and then...
he danced in Malaysia.
He danced in... Well, that sounds like a great movie. He danced in Jamaica. With, I don't know, Tom Cruise. I don't know. Tom Cruise wouldn't do that, would he?
I hope not.
If it doesn't have some kind of Mission Impossible suspense to it, he wouldn't do dancing in Jamaica.
Well, you're talking about Trump dancing with Tom
okay,
Cruise?
so seriously, Fred, you got this because President Trump was...
he was in Malaysia.
Malaysia.
He was greeted at the airport there by dancers.
Uh-huh.
And he kind of joined in.
Yes.
He did his little whatever Trump.
It's the Trump dance. And they were did you see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a stuffed shirt, Trump.
Right.
I mean, this is a guy who's spent his whole life schmoozing with, rich and powerful people. He's not a old stuffed shirt, stick in the mud, whatever you want to say. So there's a dance going by. He's going to join in.
Yeah.
Well, they were dancing his dance he created on the campaign trail. Yeah. We've all seen it.
Oh, yeah. And let's admit it. We've all done it.
Yeah.
We've all done the Trump dance.
Little John Travolta. Little John Travolta-esque, am I right?
Now, let's put it this way. It's a dance you would expect from a guy his age.
79.
Yeah.
79. All right, but he's in Malaysia. He was in Malaysia, now he's going Japan.
He's in Japan now. And announcement this morning that apparently Japan, who has a new prime minister, by the way, first woman prime minister of Japan, and apparently in preliminary talks, and this is extremely unusual. We import a lot of cars from Japan.
Oh, we do, yeah.
Yeah. We don't ship anything normally, automobile-wise, to Japan.
Okay.
But apparently the deal that's being worked out, Japan is going to buy a fleet of Ford F-150s. That the government is going to use for various things over there. So that's a big deal. And the other word that's coming out this morning, the Trump administration preliminary talks with China. Remember, we've had some rough waters in recent days with China, bantering back and forth.
Tariff, no tariff, no tariff. That's been our China policy.
Keep them guessing.
Yes. But apparently things are going well on that front. And I guess when Trump gets together with the Chinese leader Xi in just a few days, they're going to have a big announcement. Lindsey Graham, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, was talking about all this morning. Cut number 5.
Well, I'm pretty optimistic. Scott Bessent, we could not have a better representative than Scott. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to have a better trading relationship with China. Trump is really the first president In my lifetime, be honest with you, who stood up to China. They steal our intellectual property. They dump steel on the market below cost to drive us out of the steel business. So Trump is trying to level the playing field. He's got a lot of tariffs on Chinese products, but the goal is to come out with a trade deal where we'll have access to their markets, sell them soybeans. Half the soybeans in America are sold to China, but also to have a deal that we can live with where they do not cheat, to have a level playing field and lower tariffs as much as possible in a win-win situation. And the only reason we're having this meeting and the only reason we're optimistic about better days ahead with China is because Trump stood up to China.
Thank you, Senator Lindsey Graham. Let me disagree. Okay, China's going to cheat, but to the credit of the Trump administration, they are working overtime to try to hold China's feet to the fire, and that's a good thing. They have been taking advantage of us for 25 years, and I'm glad President Trump is putting the squeeze on them. But I wouldn't, as I've said many times, I wouldn't trust China or Xi as far as I could throw them, because they have grown exponentially in their tech sector, for the most part, by stealing knowledge from the U.S. or from companies that they have bought or from companies that they work with. And that's just the way they've made their move. And I guess all is fair in love and war, as they say, but I'm glad Trump has taken a hard line with China.
So President Trump he started in Malaysia, he's in Japan, and then he's going to China?
South Korea. He's going to
South
meet
Korea
with
and then China?
No, he's not going to China. He's going to meet with Xi in South Korea is what I
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Xi being the leader of Communist China.
Correct.
What do they call that title?
Is he
chairman?
Yeah, he's
like chairman of the board.
He's
like Frank Sinatra of China. Is that what he is?
Is he also called president? He's chairman of the Communist Party.
Yeah.
She's
how you pronounce his name.
Xi Jinping.
He's the big guy.
Yeah.
General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he just amazingly
he's also president.
He's reelected time after time.
He's
popularity is through the roof.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. And so we're going to sell Ford F-150s in Japan for the first time. Is that what you're saying?
To Japan, apparently that's the report.
That's what they're saying. Okay.
And this is why I applaud President Trump, because Japan has had this in place forever.
Had what in place?
Where we'll sell our cars and vehicles and trucks in your country. You can't sell yours, American-made, in our country. So that's how a lot of these imbalances have happened. And so, tip of the hat to the Trump administration. He is getting.
What about Silverados? So they're going to let Chevy in too?
I don't know.
They vote.
Good question.
Those people vote.
Yeah.
Chevy owners.
Yep.
When they're not broke down on the side of the road.
But I didn't say that. That was Ed's little jab there.
Just a joke.
It's just a joke.
If they had been taking Silverados instead of Ford F-150s, I would have done the opposite.
Like
joke.
a rock.
Yeah.
Which one was that? Was that Chevrolet? Chevrolet Bob Seger, Forever and Ever. I just remember that growing up. Like his song "Like a Rock."
Yeah.
They used that for the advertisement. So Bob Seger probably made a mint off that one.
And that was their motto in that song. That little clip of the song.
Yeah, forever.
For a long time.
Yeah. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. I'll tell you what, the president, the world traveler there, of course, that's what presidents do, but he went to Israel and back, 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And now going to, now he does have, he doesn't rough it.
No.
Okay. He's not going on standby.
Nope.
By the way, he has indicated that he is open to meeting with the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un.
Rocket Man?
In South Korea, if he wants.
That's what Trump
Rocket
calls him.
Man, yeah.
Rocket Man.
So
he is going to be.
He said he's open to it.
Oh, okay. He likes that little fella. Have you noticed that? Trump does. Huh?
He likes that little fella. He likes that little fella.
He calls him Rocket Man.
Sounds like his
Who does that?
His wife's dog. I like that little fella.
Well, all right. So Trump said he's open to meeting with an impromptu meeting with the dictator of North Korea.
Yeah.
So that may or may not happen. Then he meets with Xi, the communist Chinese leader in Seoul, South Korea. And then what, homeward bound?
Then homeward bound after that to deal with some domestic problems.
Okay, which leads us to another story. Red, what's the next story?
You know the shutdown heads in this week. It'll be a month.
Yeah.
Yep.
A month. That's
federal government shutdown.
It's not the longest, but we're getting close.
We're getting close. 35 days, I think, is the longest one. Anyway, Fox this morning, Fox News had this story on the big news this morning with regards to the shutdown is that the food stamp program, which millions of Americans depend upon, well, the money's running out. Cut number 8.
The pressures will continue to mount on Congress. Consider for a moment just food stamps. The USDA, which administers federal SNAP benefits for more than 40 million people, posted this warning on its website. Bottom line, the well has run dry at this time. There will be no benefits issued November 1st. They, Democrats, can continue to hold out for health care for illegal aliens and gender mutilation procedures, or reopen the government so mothers, babies, and the most vulnerable among us can receive critical nutrition assistance. Now, some Democrats over the weekend were pressed on that point.
Is this a trade-off you're willing to make and continue to make, letting some Americans go hungry?
Well, let's be clear. We're shut down right now because Republicans are refusing to even talk to Democrats about a bipartisan budget bill.
The Republican position, Mike Johnson's position, is that we simply have to vote for Donald Trump's budget and for what Donald Trump wants, and that's it.
And Democrats are holding out for the extension of COVID-era price supports for Obamacare.
Yeah, and a lot, the speculations begin. Who are you going to blame? Who are Americans going to blame?
Who are you going to call?
Yeah, who are you going to call?
And I looked up because I can never remember what this kind of acronym stands for. SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
Formerly known as food stamps.
Yes.
But he got a rebranding.
Yep. And so now I've been seeing, people's videos that they post on social media. And for some people, and man, they look like they're, physically capable of getting a job, but they're complaining about the fact that their $700 or $800 a month that they get for food through SNAP is going to come to an end. First of all, I don't know why there aren't more or better work requirements for SNAP, especially if you're able-bodied.
Is that the same as an EBT card?
Well, I think they get their benefits through an EBT card. It's like a debit card, which you can swipe.
Yeah.
But these folks are completely reliant on SNAP.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do for food. You don't, some people have to rely on that. They've got no choice. But you don't want to be in a situation where you have to depend on the government to get you your money or your family doesn't eat.
Well, okay, so the bottom line here on this federal government shutdown is we're reaching a point where it's going to start affecting millions more Americans if it continues on for a few more days. Is that true?
Yep, that is true. And we got to go to a break here, I know. But when we come back after the break, there is another front in this government shutdown that is probably going to explode in the next few days, and that involves air traffic controllers.
Yeah. What I try to keep up with the reasons why I hear the what's the primary reason Democrats are saying no to voting on this?
They're trying to use the shutdown as a wedge to continue the Biden COVID subsidies for Obamacare.
Okay.
That's the big one.
Which was put in place for COVID emergency.
Yes,
and for illegal immigrants.
That's right.
For health care for illegal immigrants.
Yes,
they can cut.
That's their hill to die on.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We'll be back momentarily. Stay with us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
Over in Workingham, England, there's a fellow by the name of John Baldwin. Mr. Baldwin was busy, it seems, doing nothing. He was so busy doing nothing that he got himself into trouble with the law. He was so busy doing nothing that he did not have time to pick up the mail that was piling up at his front door. Among the letters that Baldwin did not open were demands for tax payments. Baldwin was taken to court, freed on bail pending a tax probe, and allowed to return to his normal pursuits. When asked what he had accomplished in the 30 years he had devoted to restful research, Baldwin replied, "Nothing. That's what I set out to accomplish." Well, you know, there are a lot of folks in this old world who, although they don't go quite to the extreme that Mr. Baldwin does, seem to agree with him on this idea of doing nothing. Or if they do anything, it's for themselves only. And in a real sense, one could say that what Mr. Baldwin does, he does for himself only. It's a real shame that Mr. Baldwin and countless others who do nothing for anyone else and very little for themselves could not come under the influence of the master workman of the world. Their lives would all be a little different if he was allowed to motivate them instead of them attempting to motivate themselves. There is one thing that everyone can be thankful for, and that is that the Creator has not quit his job. Consider what the result would be if he should decide that he'd like to become busy doing nothing. You're talking about a mess? There would be a dilly. But he hasn't decided to quit, and he never will. The Galilean spoke to some who listened one day in the town of his trial, and he said, "My Father is working still, and I'm working." If we are hunting for something to be thankful for, there it is. It's a pity that Mr. Baldwin could not come under the influence of the great carpenter. The carpenter would give him some meaningful work to do and would make him happy doing something constructive in this world instead of doing nothing. Some people interested in the subject of doing the work of the Creator asked the carpenter one day, "What must we do to be doing the works of God?" And he answered them, "This is the work of God, that you believe in him whom he has sent." Witness the work of those who have believed in him all over the world. Just before the terrible death, this man of all men spoke, "I glorified you on earth, having accomplished the work which you gave me to do." The one who gave him work to do gives each of us a job also. And to be sure, it's not a job of doing nothing. It would be a wonderful world if we could say the same thing he said before our death also. If you have something to do, get busy. If not, find something.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. Psalm 27:4.
American Family Radio. This is today's issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of today's issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of today's issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. That's the name of this show. Thank you for listening to AFR. By the way, any day now, I got to check and see. We're going to be going on the air with our new radio station in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yes.
We were pumped about that. Is that today or tomorrow? I think we'll be flipping the switch. We bought a radio station in Des Moines. We've already got really good coverage for AFR all over Iowa, but we're not in the capital city.
Yeah.
And so this will give us access to a lot of new listeners, hopefully, potentially, there in the Des Moines area.
So when we find out when it goes on the air, we'll call on our Iowa listeners
to let their family and friends know who live in Des Moines.
Yeah, absolutely. Let them know. Send them a link.
By the way, we live in a state where college football is pretty big. 89.3 in Des Moines. Okay, and we'll mention that. And it is big. College football is, I think, the second most watched sport now in the country, I believe. I'm sure.
Right behind
most
hockey.
Popular. No, NFL, I think. But, yeah, hockey's on its way up.
It's on its way.
So I say this because some of us live in states where we have rival schools.
Yeah.
And
in-state rivalries is huge in college football.
Yeah. Now, if you're some of you live in states where it's just one dominant school, and your rivals live outside of your state, which is a good thing for the most part, I think, for people, for human existence.
Yes.
For example, Ohio State.
Right.
Everybody's a Buckeye in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
In Michigan, well, they're divided, Michigan State, but so you got schools like that, LSU.
So Ohio State's rivals, Michigan.
They live outside of the state for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't have to go to work together for the most part. So we do here in Mississippi because we have Mississippi State and Ole Miss.
Right.
So I'm leading devotion this morning for our staff, as I do each Monday, and I'm a Mississippi State fan. And, of course, we lost again in overtime again.
In, frankly, stunning fashion.
Yes. And rip your heart out and stomp on it fashion.
Unless you're a Mississippi State fan, and then it's like, oh, this happened again?
Right. Texas beat us.
Yeah.
With all their 5 stars. They beat our 3 stars, and it happened in overtime. But I'm just leading devotion this morning, and one of our staff members who's an Ole Miss fan, and they beat Oklahoma in Norman on Saturday, and we all know this happened. But he decided to bring up unsolicited an attack on the feelings of Mississippi State fans, knowing that we lost again in overtime.
Well, you were asking for prayer requests.
But yeah, and then he offered that up. But do you think it was appropriate for an Ole Miss fan who beat Oklahoma to?
Listen, we're not going to mention names, but Drew Shoemaker should have known better.
Don't mention his name.
Oh, I'm not going to mention his name.
Drew,
absolutely not.
Because Drew doesn't need that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So he said, you said ask for prayer requests.
I asked for prayer requests.
He said, I think we need to pray for Mississippi State fans.
Yes, he did.
After their terrible
Yes, he had to bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was inappropriate.
And I don't know. I don't know if I can say this for sure, but it seemed insincere to me.
Did you notice that too?
I'm saying it seemed a little bit insincere.
To which I responded that we Mississippi State fans, we're really happy for you, Ole Miss people. We really are. We're glad you won. And also let it be known that Mississippi State fans, having lost 3 games in the last few seconds in the last month, are on suicide watch.
It's been a rough month. Now, I will say this. As an outsider, I'm a Notre Dame fan. So I tried to and I do, honestly, and I mean this with all sincerity, I root for Mississippi State and Ole Miss. I want to see.
You're a neutral party. You just live in the state. You want everybody here to be happy on Monday.
Absolutely.
Don't you? Yes, that's a good attitude, Ed.
So, but one thing I have noticed, I've been married to my Mississippi wife for 44 years.
Right.
I've lived in Mississippi since 1985, so 40 years. One thing I've noticed is that the team of these two, Mississippi State and Ole Miss, that is doing well, better watch out when the rivalry game comes. They call it the Egg Bowl. Because I have seen this happen so many times where the big dog gets knocked off by the little dog, the underdog, and spoils their season.
It's karma.
So Mississippi State has a awesome season if they do that.
Knock off Ole Miss?
They knock off Ole Miss. Doesn't matter what's happened the rest of the year.
Ole Miss is ranked number 5 or 6 now.
Having a great season.
In America. All right, you're listening. By the way, speaking of Ole Miss, Vice President J.D. Vance will be, is it tomorrow night?
Wednesday.
Wednesday will be on campus at the University of Mississippi.
That is correct.
And with Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica.
That is correct.
This was planned for Charlie Kirk's tour prior to, it's been in the works for a long time. Obviously, Charlie Kirk tragically was assassinated, as we all know. And but the event is going to go on, and they're going to have this at the Pavilion, which is the basketball arena at Ole Miss. So they're expecting 10,000 people, and it's been quote sold out, even though they're not selling tickets. But it's been for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to be covering the event, right?
We are, and stay tuned. On Thursday, we'll be giving you, if you're not able to make it to the event, we'll have lots of coverage for it on Thursday for you. But
we have press credentials.
We have press credentials.
Yeah.
3 of our reporters are going, and we're excited about that.
Are you, Tim? Are you going to get a chance to go?
No, I'm going to try to. What do you call it when you try to get around the general public? What do you call that?
I'm not sure. No, I thought you were referring
at work
to
you call it
scalping.
pulling rank. Anyway, I'm going to try to see if I can know a friend or two that can get me in the back door.
Yeah.
Will
know
you
what I'm saying?
self-identify as an Ole Miss grad?
Well, if it means getting in, I probably would. For a
Well,
night.
because this is one of those deals where just about anybody can get a ticket, but then you got to stand in line to get in.
That's what I'm saying.
And then once
I don't really want to do
once
that.
it's filled
with the little people, I want to go in the back door and smooth.
and be up in a box somewhere.
Be up in a box somewhere.
Yeah. Well, you should have some. You should have some pull.
That's what I'm saying.
What I tell you, check with Drew.
Frank Turek, he knows. I don't know. I'm just teasing. I would like to go, but I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it or not.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is only an hour from where we are here,
Yeah.
so I'd love to go, but I don't know. But I was just kind of stunned that it sold out to the general public so quick. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have been, but it went boom. It went like fast.
And I'm just going to tell you,
tickets.
I've been through Oxford, where Ole Miss is, on game day. It is not fun trying to drive around there or find a parking spot on the Ole Miss campus.
Right. Well, this will be won't be like a football Saturday, but it'll still be 10,000 plus people probably.
Yeah.
Trying to get into the arena to hear the Vice President of the United States and Erica Kirk.
It is an inside arena, so I might.
That's what basketball arenas typically are. I don't know if you've noticed.
I was trying to say, well played. I deserve that one. I was not very exact. I didn't want to give the impression that it was going to be in the outdoor stadium.
Right. No, it's not the football stadium.
Yeah.
That's why I said basketball.
Yeah. All right. I think we should just leave it
Yes.
because otherwise I'm gonna root for Ole
Yeah,
Miss.
you're gonna give it back to me, aren't you, Ed? All right. You're listening to today's issues. Tim, Ed, and Fred. Fred, what's your next story?
Well, as we mentioned just before the break, as part of the shutdown, if you're traveling by air, best to check with your airlines because the air traffic controllers in the midst of the shutdown are not getting paid. In other words, when they show up for work, they're doing it on a volunteer basis.
How does that work? Do you even know how that works? I've never heard of that before.
Well, in the past, when there have been shutdowns, they get paid afterwards. When the government opens up again, they get paid for showing up.
You mean their back pay?
Back pay.
Back pay, yes.
Yeah.
Now, but we're getting into, as I mentioned, almost a month now. And these guys, they don't have a paycheck. Some of them are going out and trying to find work somewhere. But Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says this is getting serious and more travelers are going to be affected if this drags on. Cut number 7.
I've been out talking to our air traffic controllers, and you can see the stress. These are people that oftentimes live paycheck to paycheck. And so what I see coming forward as we get to Monday, tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday, that you're going to see more staffing shortages in towers, which means you're going to see more delays, more cancellations, and then you see more Americans frustrated at Democrats, and they'll say, open up the government, enough is enough.
And the report early this morning that already today, Monday, there have been about 300 flight cancellations or delays. And so, as Duffy is saying, this is only going to get worse. And politicians, you're going to hear more and more complaints.
Do you think just to the side here, do you think the public is blaming one party or the other? Or I haven't seen any surveys on that or any polls on that. Is there? Do you guys?
I saw one poll where the blame is going more towards the Democrats. The reason seems to be is that they understand Republicans are voting to reopen the government. They are the ones voting to reopen.
Okay.
The Democrats are not supporting the ongoing resolution to open up the government.
Because they're holding out on the Obamacare subsidies.
That is correct.
And also on health care for illegal aliens.
That is correct.
Right.
That is correct.
So that's what this is about. But we are on a month now, right? So
this week, I think.
Yeah,
tell you what, I'm not flying anytime soon. On I got one or two I think coming up before the end of the year, but that doesn't comfort me any. If I'm getting ready to fly, knowing that the air traffic controllers are tired and weary and.
Well, I think, now, Fred, correct me if I'm wrong, that this is the reason for the flight cancellations is that the
safety protocols are in place.
I think that they're not allowed to do their jobs.
Gotcha.
I think it's heavily unionized, so past their whatever hour shift, maybe 10 hours or whatever, they're not allowed to. They've got
so they federal. Are they federal? Are they FAA employees?
Yes. That's my understanding.
So you remember
but they do have a union, though, right?
Yes.
I think they do.
Well, you remember when they went on strike when President Reagan, for those who are old enough to remember, the air traffic controllers went on strike, and President Reagan, it was during Reagan's administration, he fired them all. Remember that?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
He fired them all because he says you're not allowed. There are certain public unions that are not allowed to go on strike, if I remember correctly, and so President Reagan just fired them all.
Yes, and air traffic controllers are one of those that aren't allowed to go on strike.
They tried it and then backfired.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Excuse me. I've seen a couple of polls and was just looking one up, the Quinnipiac poll. It seems like more people are blaming Republicans for the shutdown. I think because the Democrats' message is getting a lot of lift through the mainstream media. Their message is that Republicans want to shut down the government because they don't want health care, Obamacare, to be available with the subsidies. The Republican message is that no, Democrats want Obamacare available for illegal immigrants. And I think the Democrats' message is probably getting through a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if the SNAP benefits go out, if they're no longer flowing to people who depend on what we used to call food stamps, I don't know that the pressure might not then ramp up on Democrats simply because a lot of these benefits flow into blue cities.
Yeah.
And if they're not getting their food through, can't get that charged up EBT card, electronic benefits transfers, what EBT stands for, they may pressure Democrats. So I'm not sure how this plays out. The Democrats seem content to let it play out all the way, and we'll see who blinks first.
Speaking of this federal government shutdown, I was watching a story about Yosemite National Park, and I think this is the same as national parks across the country. They're open, but the employees who govern the park are not, like park rangers and stuff, aren't there to police it, and yet people are being allowed to go into the national parks. They were saying in Yosemite it's dangerous. They said people are base jumping when they shouldn't be. They're climbing up. It's basically, what do you call it when you rock climb up cliffs and stuff? They're doing this kind of thing. They're camping when where they shouldn't be. In other words, it's a wild, wild west.
I didn't know you could get in these
some of these national parks. Well, you would think if the federal government shuts down, which affects the National Park Service, that you would the parks would be closed to the public as long as the park rangers aren't there. I'm all for freedom, but it should be closed. They should be closed down.
Right.
If they don't have the park rangers and the personnel there to police the park. I mean,
I would have thought the gates would be shut and locked. So
type
you
in national parks and federal government shutdown and see what comes up, because I was stunned by that. But they show these people out in Yosemite, out in California, just base jumping off this big famous rock. What's that called? It's famous.
El Capitan?
Yeah, I think so. It's
All right, so this is my search says most U.S. national parks are partially open during the government shutdown with access to outdoor areas such as roads, trails, lookouts, and open-air memorials generally maintained. However, visitor services are significantly limited or unavailable. Visitor centers, indoor facilities, museums, and some restrooms are closed across many parks.
Okay, well, that makes sense. So basically what they're saying is the buildings are closed, like they said, the museums or whatever are closed, but just to be able to drive through or picnic and that kind of thing, those are open.
This also says no fees are being collected at some locations, and permits for backcountry camping and other services are not being issued. But that doesn't mean people aren't going in.
I wonder if that's true of the Grand Canyon, too.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying?
This says nearly 2/3 of National Park Service employees have been furloughed. So there is a third around. So it says only essential personnel remain to address health, safety, and resource protection concerns.
Can you imagine, though, if you got a family trip planned right now to D.C.?
I know.
You got to be worried about are the flight's going to operate to get there. And then when you get to D.C., the museums are all shut down.
Yeah, the Smithsonian.
Yes.
The Bible Museum would be open, and the outside parks like Lincoln and Jefferson Memorial, those things would be open. But you're right, the Smithsonian museums would be closed.
Yeah. I have a friend going up to Dayton, Ohio. They were going to go to the Air Force Museum. Been told it's been shut down.
Yeah.
Well,
it should. I would have thought this would have been resolved by now, and the federal government would be reopened. I'm gonna say this week. I'm gonna guess by Friday it'll be reopened. They'll work something out, because it just the old word unsustainable. I just don't think with the air traffic control situation and the SNAP
benefits.
program benefits stopping, the outcry is going to get
and the pressure probably will build on both sides. But I don't know. I think Democrats have more time on their side. I do.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if President Trump is in charge of the Republican Party, he doesn't seem to give a rip.
Yeah.
And he's untouched, unfazed. I'm talking about by the Democrats' threats on this. So now he may hear from his constituency, being the Republican House of Representative members, that we've got to compromise here somewhere because it's going to start hurting us, and he may listen to them.
Right.
I'm not saying President Trump is not sympathetic to the feelings of Americans. I don't want to suggest that. I'm just saying that when it comes to fighting against the Democrats, he's not moved by their arguments.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, the Democrat Party has more than their fair share of what I would call wackadoodles. Okay. Now, every once in a while you'll get a Republican wackadoodle. This is from my perspective as a conservative.
Your opinion only.
I understand that a liberal may differ from where I see things, but I just think if you were to have a wackadoodle convention, you would have a vast majority of them politically would be Democrats. That's my take on things.
Yeah.
Okay, now you might say, well, Tim, give us an example of what you're talking about. And I will go now to our news desk, and Fred Jackson, our news director, will bring forth a story which proves wackadoodleism is alive and well.
Yes,
Fred?
We're going to hear from some.
Okay.
The type of people of whom you speak.
Yes, okay.
All right, because a week from tomorrow is Election Day.
All right.
And there's governor's races in New Jersey and Virginia. But I guess the one getting most of the attention is the mayoralty race in New York City.
New York City?
New York City.
I said that one. You said that one.
Very good.
Fred?
Yeah.
Canadian? Do that southern accent
I've been
again.
here 28 years now. I've got this down. Anyway, Zoran Mamdani.
Zoran Mamdani.
The communist who is way out
To
in
the
front
Batcave.
in the polls. He had a rally last night, and he had some guests.
All right.
Amongst them was AOC, better known as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Bernie Sanders. Let's have a listen to what they had to say. Cut 10.
Corrupt politicians and the billionaires that fund them. Let our words ring out so loud tonight that Andrew Cuomo can hear them in his $8,000 a month apartment. Let them ring so loud so that he can hear us even if he's in Westchester this evening. Let them ring so loud that his puppet master in the White House hears us. New York is not for sale.
And we will send a loud message to President Donald Trump that his authoritarianism is no good here.
This election is taking place when we have a corrupt campaign finance system which allows billionaires in both political parties to select the candidates they want and to buy elections.
Who was the first fella?
That was Mamdani.
That was Mamdani.
Oh, wow. He's really going after Cuomo.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think, honestly, if you believe the polls, he doesn't have much to worry. It looks like a cakewalk right now.
The Republican, the fellow that wears the beret, what's his name?
Curtis Sleva.
He's been around like since the 30s, right? What's his name?
No, Curtis Sleva.
Guardian Angels or something like that?
I think he started the Guardian Angels maybe back in the 60s or
What was
70s.
the purpose of the Guardian Angels?
It was to protect. This is how things go in cycles. All right, Democrats in the 60s and 70s on into the 80s became known as the party whose policies protect criminals but not victims. So crime got so bad in New York City that the Guardian Angels were a private group. They became known for wearing their little uniforms with the berets. They would try to help people who were caught up in burglaries or robberies or assaults. They would be there to try to help people. And
not as law enforcement.
Not as
but
law
just
enforcement.
citizens.
They're volunteers.
Okay.
And so that was the origin. I don't know if Curtis. I think it's Sleva, but it's spelled Sliwa, but I think it's pronounced with a V. But I'm not sure he started it, but he was at least the most well known early on.
So he's the Republican candidate for mayor, and him staying in, a lot of people, Republicans and Democrats who don't support Mamdani, are upset because he's staying in and he's going to take votes away from Cuomo. And if Cuomo doesn't have those votes, he can't beat Mamdani. Isn't that the thinking here?
That's the math.
Who knows if he would otherwise? But that's the people are upset because this Silva won't get out of the race.
He was the founder of the Guardian Angels in New York City in February of 1979.
Yeah. I was talking about Eric Swalwell, too. He is the Democrat congressman from
California,
mm-hmm. where there are a lot of wackadoodles. But do we have 10 seconds? No, we don't have any time. See, there the music's here. So do we have his comments we can use after the break? It's the ones about wrecking the ballroom.
I don't think so.
And I'm not talking about a heavy metal song. I'm talking about. Okay, well, I'll either quote or we'll get the audio from that when we get back from the break.
I see some people say the pronunciation is Sliwa. I saw Sleva.
Talking about the Guardian Angels guy?
Yeah. So I don't know. Sliwa or Sleva. I've seen him both ways.
He's a beret. Where's the beret?
He is.
You think I need to switch to a beret, maybe?
Hey,
Do you like
berets can be pretty fashionable looking.
Okay. We'll be back.
What you got going on looks good.
We'll be back momentarily with Steve Paisley Jordahl coming up in 5 minutes.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
The enemy has pulled out all the stops to try to destroy the family for a very long time. That's why the American Family Association stands boldly in the gap to protect and strengthen this God-breathed institution. Visit afa.net today and discover the resources available for you and your family. And if you would, please take a minute to show your support. That's afa.net.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. The government shutdown continues as lawmakers have yet to pass a funding bill. House Speaker Mike Johnson speaking with reporters today, pointing blame at Democrats for the shutdown.
Day 27 means it's almost been a full month since the Democrats shut down the government. And as we near the end of this month, the pain being felt by so many hardworking people around this country is very real, and it gets worse with each passing day.
Small Business Administrator Kelly Loeffler blaming Democrats for the shutdown, claiming small businesses were thriving before it began.
Small business optimism was at 7-year highs. Wage growth was outpacing inflation for the first time in 4 years. GDP growth was 3.8%. Deregulation, energy dominance, and fair trade were finally back.
Hurricane Melissa, now a Category 5 storm with 160-mile-per-hour winds, expected to bear down on Jamaica Tuesday.
The roar of Hurricane Melissa already offshore. Airports and seaports shut down in Jamaica for what may be the strongest storm ever to slam the island Tuesday. A direct hit with 30 to 40 inches of rain. And the National Hurricane Center warning, do not go outside for the 24-hour slow-motion siege.
That is a long-duration event where you're going to have to be in a shelter in your home for up to 2 to 3 days, possibly longer for communities that could be cut off by the catastrophic flooding.
NHC Deputy Director Jamie Rome forecasting landslides and extensive power outages. Nearly 900 shelters open in Jamaica. The storm barrels across Cuba Tuesday night onto the southeast Bahamas Wednesday. Therese Crowley, Fox News.
The race for Virginia's next governor is heating up as Election Day grows closer. Mark Meredith is in Fairfax with the latest.
Virginia's Republican gubernatorial candidate, who's also the state's lieutenant governor, says she's being forced off of the campaign trail. That's because the Democratic-controlled legislature is now taking steps to redraw its congressional maps. It's kind of a surprise move. The candidate we're talking about is Winsome Earl Sears. She says she's going to spend much of this week at the state capitol down in Richmond instead of meeting with early voters, because early voting will wrap up here this week. Polls show her trailing the Democratic opponent, Abigail Spanberger, but Sears telling Fox that she believes this race is much closer than many think.
The head of a pro-Israel ministry says the rise of New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani is part of a well-funded European-style Muslim takeover of the city and the country.
It used to be that support for Israel was the entrance fee for anyone wanting to hold political office in New York City. As of Friday afternoon, the self-described anti-Zionist Zoran Mamdani has an 18-point lead over his closest challenger, Andrew Cuomo. Mike Evans of Friends of Zion says something has definitely changed in Gotham.
The celebrations over Hamas after October 7th happened in New York City. They weren't protesting Hamas. They were celebrating Hamas, and they were protesting the Jews.
New numbers from Patriot Polling might explain it. Among American-born New Yorkers, Cuomo leads Mamdani 40-31. Among foreign-born New Yorkers, he trails 24-62. If it wants a pro-Jewish mayor, New York City has done itself no favors by bringing in about a quarter of its immigrant population in the last 10 years.
We're in the middle of an ideological war, and thank God for Donald Trump, because he's standing up to it. It's very serious, this ideological war. Demons don't clear customs.
Evans says the battle for a European-style Muslim takeover in New York City and the rest of the country is well funded.
The family Israeli-owned corporations called countries in the Middle East are flushing tens of billions of dollars into this country to poison it.
He says it's like the boiling frog syndrome. America is buying into it and doesn't even realize it.
America needs a great awakening because we're already having a rude one.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
Stocks are climbing toward more records today. The S&P 500 rose 0.9%, the Dow was up 254 points, and the Nasdaq Composite was 1.5% higher. More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
The American Family Association's mission is to inform, equip, and activate individuals to strengthen the moral foundations of our culture. We also support the church. Our goal is to be a leading organization in biblical worldview training for cultural transformation. AFA aims to evangelize the lost and disciple the believer. We aim to strengthen biblical marriages and equip parents to raise godly children.
Thank you for standing with the American Family Association.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. Today's Issues is the name of this program. We're here Monday through Thursday from 10:05 to 11:30 Central Time on AFR. And, of course, Fridays we have Trivia Friday, also known as Learning University. So that's every Friday. Now joining us in studio, as is his custom, is Steve Paisley Jordahl. Good morning, Brother Steve.
Bonjour, everybody.
You were listening to the show, weren't you?
I was.
What you got for us? You got some French?
I have that home run call. Now,
This is game one of the World Series.
I speak French. I don't understand a word of this. It's pretty fast, and there's a lot of background noise.
Set it up for us, Steve. This is game one of the World Series.
In Toronto.
Los Angeles Dodgers are playing the Toronto Blue Jays. In Canada, French is
one of the languages.
Big languages.
So everything in Canada you get in English and in French. Unless you're in Montreal, you might not get it in English. So they have a broadcast that is in French.
Okay.
And so these guys are going to make this was the game was at the time, I think the game was tied or close. And this home run put them up and kind of put the game out of reach. But listen to this call.
Tombante qui va revenir vers le frappeur gaucher. La balle est frappée d'aplomb en direction du champ droit. À la piste et l'avertissement. Grand chelem. Allison Barger.
That was French.
Great.
That was French for going, gone.
And that was a grand slam in the middle of the sixth inning that catapulted the Blue Jays to the game one win. The Dodgers have tied it up, but that's just great. I don't care what language it is.
Yeah, that is.
You hear the crowd go wild, and
I don't know.
Sports is a great thing
because I learned French in third grade.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like baseball
lingo.
We didn't do any baseball. We didn't do any football. Certainly no computer talk back when I was, 9 and 10. They didn't have computers yet.
So can you talk to someone who's fluent in French?
Yeah, if you give me a day or two, I will pass for French in Paris.
Really? Well, you sure will with that shirt you've got on. I can tell you that. It is nice. I like it.
Parlez-vous français?
There you go, Tim.
Edward.
Now you're just showing off.
Yeah.
Parlez-vous.
Right. So, parlez-vous français. And then you got Polly want a cracker.
Well, if I want to, in Paris, I would just talk like Chief Inspector Clouseau.
Oh, that would go over well.
They actually hate Clouseau.
I imagine they do. It's not a very good representation.
You have a license for your Minky?
All right, I want to get to this Congressman Eric Swalwell story. Steve, if you heard the previous, we were talking about wackadoodles.
Yeah.
And the Democrat Party has A wide collection.
More than their fair share.
Yes, and this gentleman, Eric Swalwell, is a congressman from duly elected congressman from the state of California. But politically, I would put him in the wackadoodle category.
You might remember Swalwell was the one that was kind of with the Chinese spy for a while, and had some so he's been on the radar for a while. But the battle over this the big beautiful ballroom that Trump is building, and I don't know what the name is going to be. He's kind of coy about that or doesn't know, but. The battle over this ballroom continues, and Democrats are just incensed that anybody would touch the east wing of the White House. This thing, if you look at renderings of it, is going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge, ornate. And as the White House is set up right now, when you have a lot of state dinner, there are literally tents outside, and VIPs have to use porta potties.
Yeah.
They've needed this for a while. So anyway, Eric Swalwell.
There's not enough space for what's needed today.
No. Every country you go to has a formal dining room. England, you have like 20 of them where you can fit like 100. This will sit about 1,000 people.
And so they had to tear down the east wing of the White House in order to build this grand ballroom, which will host state dinners and things like that. It's going to be I've seen the renderings, as you say. It's going to be a beautiful addition to the White House complex.
Well, Swalwell's having none of it, and he put out on X. This was not there's no audio of this, but he put out on X. Don't even think of seeking the Democrat nomination for president unless you pledge to take a wrecking ball to the Trump ballroom on day one in all caps.
Take a wrecking ball to what would be the new ballroom?
Yep. He wants to see wrecking ball. Can you imagine?
I read this. I know what the story's about. but
that's. I think you said in our story meeting this morning that's TDS, Trump derangement syndrome on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that now. I'm not going to defend this guy.
I think he's serious.
Oh no,
Do you think so?
I think he's serious. I think now the Washington Post, as we've mentioned. Are you going to deal with the Washington Post?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Because that, to me, is the sane approach. I will say this, and again, I'm not defending Swalwell, but President Trump has said, I don't know whether he means this or he's trolling. You never really do know, that he's going to name it the Donald Trump Ballroom.
We call it the Truman. Isn't the Truman Balcony? Isn't that what they call it?
Yeah, they do name it after presidents. That seems to be part of what's setting off Swalwell and company.
Well, it's interesting you say that because the Washington Post is revamping its editorial board. They're becoming a little more libertarian. They're coming back from the far left. And this is what they write. I think this is a good description of what you're talking about. In classic Trump fashion, the president is pursuing a reasonable idea in the most jarring manner possible.
Yes.
that does describe Trump. That's fair.
That's pretty well written.
TDS comes into play.
It notes that privately many alumni of the Biden and Obama White House acknowledge the long overdue need for an event space like what Trump is creating. It's absurd that tents needed to be erected on the South Lawn for state dinners and VIPs are forced to use porta potties, according to the editorial board of the Washington Post.
And the Washington Post, of course, has always been a liberal publication. It's a daily newspaper in Washington, D.C., but it's considered a national news source.
It is.
And so they are saying, to their credit, that President Trump it's a good idea for him to build this new ballroom, this new event center on the White House grounds. And the Democrats who are opposing it are just basically overreacting for political reasons. Like this Eric Swalwell, congressman from California, saying if you're going to even run for president as a Democrat, you need to commit to putting a wrecking ball to what would be the newly built ballroom, grand ballroom there. Are they really going to run on that kind of the Democrats?
Some of these, we talked about loonies
in
the last segment. Some of them probably would. I have to think that serious candidates for president and I would, include Gavin Newsom among those, maybe AOC, whoever's going to run on the Democratic side. I would think that they may give that lip service, but they are going to have to run on serious issues,
right?
If they're going to attract a serious vote, in their direction.
Next story, Steve.
All right. Can we continue with the wackadoodle?
Wackadoodle story number 2. Coming your way.
Wackadoodle story
We're
is never boring.
We're going to come back to the New York City mayoral election.
Oh, good.
And Mamdani has a lead, but
what's his name again?
Mamdani.
Yeah, what's his first name?
Zoran Mamdani. Zoran.
Like a superhero.
He has a black mask and
doing the Z.
Yeah,
that's Zorro.
So he is leading in the polls, as you say. The latest poll, AARP New York poll put out on October 20th. Mamdani maintains a double-digit lead, but it is tightening a little bit in a hypothetical race if Sliwa was to drop out. But Mamdani would still lead by about 4 points.
So he's going to win.
He's going to win. But listen to this. I found a poll from Patriot Polling. It found this is a couple weeks, maybe about a month old. But what this said is, at the time, the three-way race, Mamdani's leading 43 to Cuomo's 32 to Sliwa's 19%. But among American-born New Yorkers, Cuomo leads 40%, Mamdani 31, and Sliwa 25% of the vote. Among foreign-born New Yorkers, Mamdani leads 62 to 24. And
what does that tell
12. You? It tells you that we've been importing people, and the assimilation is not happening.
Well, New York City. By the way, this is New York City proper. This is not the greater New York City metropolitan area.
The 5 boroughs.
Yeah, this is the 5 boroughs. And, this is the Rudolph Giuliani won, 25 years ago or so? A couple
it's
times.
Been a while, yeah.
And then after that, they've had very liberal mayors.
Get a list of the mayors.
Dinkins, wasn't his name? And Koch.
Koch.
Koch. K-O-C-H. Remember him? Ed Koch.
Yeah.
And then you had
So Giuliani was from 94, I don't know, it was this far back, to 2001. He was mayor of New York City.
Well, and he cleaned up the city. Remember, he was the U.S. attorney there before he became the mayor.
David Dinkins, and Giuliani did, and he cleaned up famously Times Square.
Yeah.
Remember, that was just covered over with prostitution and drugs.
That's what he was known for. Rudolph Giuliani was, when he became mayor, he was a law and order guy because he came from the U.S. attorney, prosecutor's office, and he was voted in, and he won, I think he 2 elections.
I think so, because he was 96 through 2001, and he was succeeded by Michael Bloomberg, who was also a Republican, but he was more to the left.
They couldn't look for a guy like Thomas Willett.
Who?
Thomas Willett. He was the first mayor of New York City.
I did not know that.
He's dead, though, I think.
Well, he was in office 1665 and 1666, took a break, and then came back for 67 and 68. So, he was known for where he put the beads that they traded Manhattan for.
Well, one of the all-time great swindles.
I don't even know what y'all are talking about.
Manhattan was bought from the Indians for beads, like wampum or something.
They gave him nice beads, like necklace beads and that kind of stuff.
Who you mean the
Indian tribe that was settled on Manhattan Island?
You've never heard this?
Maybe somewhere back in my French class I heard this, but tell me the story, Ed, of what happened here, and you and Steve can chime in. Just give us the 2-minute version, if you would. Here, what are y'all talking about here?
The 2-minute version.
Can you do that?
So yeah. Now I have looked it up to get the details correct.
All right.
So the Lenape, also called the Lenni or Lenape and Delaware people. So they were the Indians, Native Americans, indigenous. And so they controlled area in what is now known as New York and Manhattan. What's that?
New York City?
New York City. And so what's now known as present-day Manhattan, it's now one of the 5 boroughs of New York City, was purchased. I'm trying to find the it was purchased. I'm trying to find out who it was.
60 guilders from the Dutch. The Dutch paid good value at 60 guilders, likely including tools and cloth and trade, not just beads.
So the Dutch paid the Indians to buy Manhattan? Is that what they were talking about?
So
what's now known as Manhattan.
The $24 worth of beads story was later a simplification and an exaggeration, turning the nuanced trade into a symbol of Native Americans being cheated, though it's not an accurate depiction. They actually got goods like tools and cloth and stuff.
Much better.
But it was only for about $24 to $50 worth of.
Now,
how much of Manhattan did they buy?
The whole island.
The whole thing. So now, in defense of the Dutch, and in defense of the Lenape, however you pronounce it, people. Okay, what I've read in the past, I'm trying to find something more historical to bolster what I'm saying, but that it was there were some rivers there and marshes. There wasn't much there.
It wasn't Fifth Avenue.
It was it wasn't a
Saks wasn't there yet.
Wasn't a fantastic piece of property. So in defense of the deal, the art of the deal, the Indians didn't know that was going to be turned into. The Dutch probably didn't either.
But you're saying the Dutch paid them with
20 big, beautiful beads.
No. And some tools.
The Indians there, they got the raw end of the deal.
That's that's what the story is usually used to portray.
And eventually,
the raw end of the art of the deal. They got the raw end.
Raw end of the art of the
deal.
And
Trump's ancestry is Dutch. You know that? I'm serious about that.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Maybe that's
how it all started.
Where all that money came from.
That's how he got his name on hotels and buildings.
His ancestors made it big selling wampum.
What is that?
I need to stop.
Is that like an incense?
No, wampum is just
wampum. We used to wampum when we. I know football teams that have been wamped. Huh?
Yeah, in fact, you saw that Saturday.
I don't need to hear that again. That's a distant memory.
Wampum is a traditional shell bead of the indigenous peoples of the northeast woodlands of North America. And so I think they use it as a method of exchange.
It's money.
It must have been some really, really nice wampums. Don't you think?
It says the small cylindrical beads, this is from history.com, called wampum, came from purple and white whelk and clam shells.
So the Indian chief who sent his negotiators to the table with the Dutch, and the negotiators come back with some beads, and he says, you gave them Manhattan Island for what? For these beads. They're really nice here, Chief.
Just look at these.
Look at these, Chief.
And I also want to defend the Native American people who sold Manhattan to the Dutch, because Vitaglianos all throughout our infamous history have also been terrible at the art of the deal. So some people got it and some people don't.
Did y'all give away Italy or something?
Well, we would have given the chance.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Steve.
All right. You want to get to the next story?
Yes, please.
Yeah,
all right.
We better. We're getting like close to ethnic jokes.
Yes.
We're talking AI.
It's dangerous here. We have to apologize to somebody.
Well, let's start with Italians.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You don't have to apologize to them.
I want to talk about artificial intelligence.
All right. Speaking of Italians.
As opposed to
oh, man, that just came to me, and I shouldn't have said it, but it was just there for the taking.
As opposed to the intelligence being demonstrated on this show.
I apologize to all Italians out there. I did not mean that.
And, folks, it is not sincere.
You do not represent artificial intelligence to me. There was just a joke that was bad, and I apologize for it.
Well,
Ed, will you please accept my apology on behalf
of the Italian people?
Thank you. You accept my apology. Here's some beads. You want some beads? I got some beads for you.
I prefer ravioli, but beads. All right, Steve, save us.
Well, the China, and this is analysts say, this is from Fox News. Analysts say China is developing a chilling strategy for fighting a war with the United States, basically destroying Americans' fighter jets before they even leave the ground. Now, this is a common war tactic.
What does Chile have to do with any of this? Did you say Chile?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
China?
No, chilling.
Oh,
chilling
strategy. Oh, my bad.
A chilling
I'll let
strategy.
you start over again. Do that again here.
Analysts say China has developed a chilling strategy for fighting a war with the United States, destroying America's fighter jets before they ever leave the ground. In nearly every modern conflict, disabling enemy aircraft on the ground has been the first move. It happened when Israel struck Iran's nuclear sites. It happened in the Russia-Ukraine war. The first thing you want to do is keep the planes off on the ground. You control the sky. Well, a U.S. defense technology firm says it has built a way to fight back. Shield AI, based in San Diego, has unveiled a new AI-piloted fighter jet designed to operate without runways, without GPS, and without constant communication links. An aircraft that can think, fly, and fight on its own. If you bring up the Fox News page, you'll see these things.
This is crazy.
Front page. Shield AI says the jet is called the X-Bat. It can take off vertically, reach 50,000 feet, fly more than 2,000 nautical miles, and execute strike or air defense missions using an onboard autonomy system known as HiveMind. They are not going to ask permission, or they are just this is just go to fox.com, foxnews.com.
By the way, this HiveMind system with the X-Bat means it can operate even when your opponent is trying to jam radar and GPS. This is huge. This is a huge development. It's supposed to be this system is supposed to be out there and deployed by 2029. I've been saying this for several years now, that if China ever decides to go after Taiwan and expects the U.S. to be involved, they will strike U.S. bases first all over the Pacific, probably even Hawaii, to try to take out, because you're going to go to war. China's thinking, we're going to go to war with the U.S. anyway. We might as well cripple them in advance. Yep. And that was part of the strategy when the U.S. and NATO sat opposed to the Warsaw Pact and the Soviet Union. Everybody knew that if the Soviet Union ever attacked Western Europe, they would strike air bases first, because you want to control the skies.
We just better hope and pray, and I mean this all seriousness, that the U.S. and China never get into a war at all, military conflict at all, because it could explode into World War III.
Yep.
But what you're talking about is aircraft that have their own minds, as it were.
Yeah, they fly and fight autonomously. They've been given the pictures of the enemy aircraft. I'm sure they've put that in, and where they're coming from and what they look like.
They're programmed.
They're programmed to recognize the enemy aircraft. And
are these real, or are these pictures of futuristic?
I think those are real pictures.
Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think that's AI. That's AI representation
of something that's yet to be built.
That it's yet to be operational and deployed. I'm sure there are prototypes that are being
Well, we're talking about
tested.
Our pictures on Fox News.
You can go to our Facebook page. Brenda's put the pictures up there.
Our Today's Issues Facebook page, we put pictures of these aircraft.
And the pictures says, now this says Shield AI. Some of these pictures are probably real, but some of them are representations of what a X-Bat airfield.
Have they been built yet? Do we know?
That I'm sure there are prototypes that are being tested, but they have not been built for deployment yet because they're still going through the research and development phase. But these would be aircraft that would be like launching cruise missiles. Okay, you launch cruise missiles. Now they're operating on their own. They have perfect understanding of by GPS where they're located. They hit their targets. This would be like launching aircraft that don't have pilots. A human makes the decision to send them, and then they operate on their own. That's kind of scary.
I know.
But I'm sure everyone else is figuring this out too.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Ed.
Yes, sir.
Our thanks to Fred Jackson, the Canadian American, who was on with us earlier, and Brent Creeley, our redneck American, who.
And we will have an official apology to the Italian American community.
Yeah, it'll be forthcoming right after pizza.
Oh, man.
We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.